application layer and uses different kinds of operation. But in case of transport security, which actually operates at the transport layer, try to similar type of operations. So there are difference are there. Why this transport layer security is very much famous, and we should always try to use it instead of TLS. So transport security, this is another just like in SSL sits application layer and transport layer. The transport layer security, this TLS actually sits between the transport layer and internet layer and tries to provide similar kind of operation that it gives. But there are lots of differences at that, and it does not have different kinds of encryption, confidentiality issues are there. That's why it become obsolete, and SSL is now it is standardized. SSL is used everywhere nowadays. What are the mainly difference? Because SSL there versions are available. In case of TLS, only one version was there, and that's why it is become more obsolete. Cipher shoot it different kinds of nowadays. That is a newly generated algorithm supported by SSL. It does not support. This is a fault. Is a new cipher shoot algorithm that is not supported by the TLS algorithm. The cryptography secret, that is it is computed as explained earlier. Yes, it is secret. That is the how you can generate one random number, then that can be encrypted, and you will send it to the receiver, and receiver will get decrypted. Called a kind of secret type of number that we are sharing. That's like OTP. So server will send some OTP and they will ask that please type OTP again, so they can match. Just like if you want to do some transactions or any kind of operations, they will send an OTP to your registered mobile number. Or sometimes if you do any operations, the Aadhaar card mobile number will get some OTP and you will generate. You will again need to put that OTP. Even in case of Uber also, they will send you OTP and that OTP you need to give. So this is kind of security reasons. This is called the secret number that is shared between receivers and the sender. So alert protocol, as you know, there is any type of error that actually happened during the transmission of the SSL can be handled by the alert protocol. There are different kinds of error can happen. For example, that the message is not transmitted properly, or the digital certificate that you have shared is obsolete, or the public key is not matching with your name. So something like that. So everything is belongs to the error related issues can be handled by the alert protocol. So in case of TLS, there is no such that type of alert protocol is there. Only there are different types of errors are there. Like decryption failed, record overflow, unknown CA, access denied, insufficient security. So there are different types of errors are there. Handshaking protocol, that is same as describing SSL. In case of TLS, same type of handshaking is done. Only the certificate related issues are not there. That's why the some details are changed. That thing is written. Record protocol uses MAC, that is the message authentication code, and in case of TLS, it uses HMAC, that is the hash-based message authentication code. So these are the two different, some of the differences between the SSL and TLS. TLS is obsolete nowadays. We are only using SSL. That is a secure socket layer that sits between application layer and the transport layer. Next, we are going to discuss secure hypertext transport protocol, AS-HTTP. Okay, secure hypertext transport protocol. It is not. There is difference between HTTPS and AS-HTTP. Okay, so whenever we are using SSL, then it is become HTTPS. So if I try to log in, if I suppose I am trying to log in, so if I opening www.google.com, this type of thing, and if you are getting something like HTTPS, okay, so see there is like Coin, there is different types of website that I have visited. There is the income tax, Coin. So those type of thing everywhere you can see there is HTTPS. So what is the meaning of this S? It is HTTP's normal HTTP meaning is hypertext transfer protocol. But when you are writing HTTPS, that means you are using secure socket layer sitting between application layer and transport layer. So this HTTPS is actually giving you So in case of Google also, you can see this, it is written as HTTPS. So this S means you are using SSL layer. That is, the SSL layer is there between the application layer and transport layer. That's why it is called HTTPS. So normal HTTP is secure hypertext transfer protocol. And when you are using SSL between the application and transport layer, it becomes hypertext transfer protocol secure. Okay. So this is difference between HTTP and HTTPS. So HTTP request is sent by using SSL is identified as HTTPS. So this is how this can be written. That HTTPS :/www.yahoo.com, whereas SHTTP is this is how it should be written. So the services that is provided by this AS-HTTP is quite similar to SSL, but SSL is quite but SSL is HTTPS is quite successful compared to AS-HTTP, and there is no separate layer is there. AS-HTTP is a special protocol that actually present at the application layer. So AS-HTTP is the special protocol that present at the application layer, where HTTPS is a special layer that acts between the application layer and the transport layer. So you can see that is the difference between the HTTPS and the AS-HTTP. AS-HTTP is a special protocol that present at the application layer, as you can see. But in case of HTTPS, that is actually generated by this SSL layer that is sits between application layer and the transport layer. So it supports both authentication and encryption of the HTTP traffic that is between the client and the server. The encryption and digital signature formats used in HTTP have origins and just like PEM protocol that we had already discussed. The key difference between SSL and HTTP is that it works on individual message. It can encrypt and sign individual message. On the other hand, SSL does not differentiate between the different messages. Okay. So there are different other protocols are there. Those are not present in your syllabus. So please go through the HTTPS, that is when SSL layer is there, and AS-HTTP, because the difference between the AS-HTTP and HTTPS is very common question in your semester exam also, not for internal syllabus. Okay, next. Okay, next topic. These topics are not there from the book, so don't. If you want, you can go through them. All the topics are more or less related to each other. For example, SET protocol. SET protocol is mainly used for electronic money transfer. That suppose whenever you are giving, whenever you are providing your card number to Amazon. But it may never happen that with us, and you are also providing a CVV, but they will never get the value from that card number and CVV number. They will never try to doing some fraud operations, that getting money from your account without your intervention. So how these things can be done? Okay, so those things is handled by the SET protocol, ACT protocol, that handles the dual signature. So in case of there is a two types of operations are there. So bank cannot see what money to purchase which item you are giving the money, that bank cannot see, and Amazon cannot see that how the amount that is the money is you are getting from the bank, or there is a CVV or OTP. So that is called the that is actually part of the ACT protocol. So those is very important in case of electronic money transaction, as ACT protocol claims that actually provides the three-layer security protocol, 3D protocol, sometimes it is called. So this protocol is very, very important, that helps us to deal with the electronic money transfer. So this is called the dual signature. The concept is called dual signature. So when you are taking, suppose your money is with the bank, so you are not doing cash on delivery. So from the bank account, you are either UPI or giving some PIN, you're purchasing something. So bank cannot see what item you're purchasing. Okay. And the Amazon cannot see that which bank you are using or what is the CBB or OTP, everything that Amazon cannot see. So that protocol you have to implement when you are doing any e-commerce application. E-commerce means Amazon, Flipkart, or any airline services, Big Basket, Zomato, Swiggy. So each and every app will install this 3D protocol, that is the SAFE protocol, that helps you to handle the dual signature. So this is very, very important. Even if you are building some app, you have to have this kind of security with you, because this this is a real life applications of the electronic money transfer, because these protocols will help you to provide both way both way handling the data, both the item related data along with the money related data, both sides. So this is very interesting topic. If you want, if I get some extra time, I will obviously discuss these topics. But let me complete the syllabus first. Then I am going to discuss these topics. Okay, students. Before starting the email security, I want to ask: do you have any free period tomorrow? Any free period tomorrow? Section B, section C. Okay, and section C, if I take a 9 to 10, section C, anyone from section C?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you free 9 to 10?
Ma'am, Kobe?
Tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I will send a meeting link, because I know it's very difficult for you to keep patience for 2 lecture periods continuously. Okay, so it's better that there are lots of free times are there. I can see, I have seen the section B routine, that's why I'm asking. So if you have no problem, I will be taking on 45 minutes class tomorrow, 9 to 10, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So let's get started. The email security, basically syllabus is very less, and we have also time for the month of January. Actually, next week you have internals. Maybe Monday it is not possible. You have to take your preparation. So I will next week it's not possible to probably to attend any classes by any of the sections. So we need to complete the syllabus, and in the month of January we will get 3 weeks. Okay, so email security. So electronic mail is perhaps the most widely used application nowadays. So we always send emails. Now the problem is, when we actually started emails, we used to send only text. Suppose this type of text message we used to send. So this is the from, this is to, this is subject, this is date. So dear Mahesh, I have decided to accept your offer. Regards, Atul. So this is kind of text messages used to send when the emails have generated, or they have created by the some of the authors were probably Tim Berners-Lee was also there, who had generated this kind of formats. So actually the email contains 2 portions. One is header, another is body. So this is one of the biggest application of the internet to send emails. So email contain only there is a particular format is there for text email messages. So there is a header field, then there is a body field. But nowadays the email contains not only text, it contains videos, audios, pictures. So as the requirement changes, we have to add more features to our emails. So let's see how that can be done with the help of some protocols. So this is email, and we have to use some protocols to handle the email security. So first of all, the mails, how the mails are sent, how the email communication is going on. So the email communication is performed with the help of SMTP protocol, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, SMTP protocol. So what is a SMTP protocol? So you can see this picture. So whenever we are trying to send message or send any email or message, both cases, as you can see, there are two types of SMTP servers are there. One is local server, another is receiver's SMTP server, from where the receiver will get mail. So whenever this is sender, this is receiver. So between the, whenever you are sending mail to someone, there are actually two servers are sitting between the sender and the receiver. First, when the sender sent this mail, this is received by the local SMTP server, and then from the local SMTP server through the internet, it goes to the receiver's SMTP server, and then receiver can pull the messages from this SMTP server. Okay, so the main purpose of the SMTP server is for carrying the email and for storing the email, and it gets deleted like after 1 year or 2 year, that something time span is there. I hope you have seen some pictures of Google server room, Apple servers room. So there are Yahoo server room. So there are lots of server rooms you have, maybe you have seen. So there are lots of hard disks are there. They are blinking. Maybe some scientific fiction movies you have seen. So there are server room is there. So in case of server room, there are big kind of storage are there where actually data are actually get stored over there. So this is something like SMTP server. Just like you can imagine that this is a kind of spam that 30 days the message can be there, and then after 30 days it will be removed automatically. So this type of thing. So all the emails I am sending, all the messages you are sending through WhatsApp, through normal message service center. So all those things have similar architecture. There are two servers are there, one for the sender, another for the receiver. So let's check that what are the steps are there for email communication. And so first at the sender end, the SMTP servers takes the message that is sent by the user's computer. So this email from the sender's machine goes to the sender's SMTP server. And then after that, the sender's SMTP server send this message to the receiver's SMTP server. Then this receiver SMTP server, from the receiver SMTP server, the receiver will fetch the mail. Now fetching the mail, you can see this is the arrow direction is opposite. So this is not done with the SMTP server. This can be done with the post office protocol version 3, POP protocol, post office protocol, POP3, post office protocol version 3. With this help of this protocol, this message is taken from the receiver machine. So as you can see, the arrow is on the opposite direction. So that means you are pulling the message from receiver is taking that message from the receiver's SMTP server with the help of POP protocol or post office protocol. So SMTP protocol is actually quite simple. The communication between the client and server using SMTP consists of human understandable ASCII text. So let's discuss that how the message is transferred. So you can see there are 12 steps are there. So let's discuss these 12 steps with the help of SMTP protocol. So based on the client request for an email message transfer, the server sends back a ready for mail reply indicating that it can accept an email message from the client. So they must be ready. So both sides, the actually nowadays it is not required, but when we had the earlier days, you have to, for example, in your mobile, you have some app so that you can send a message. Okay, so you can send a mail. So that thing is there. So both sides they have some common scenarios will be there. Both sides you have to generate one. Suppose you have to create your new mail with your name, that is abc@gmail.com. So this type of mail address you have to create it. So then the server will know that this is your client, and it will generate some spaces so that you can send a mail. Then the client sends a hello message. This is hello. This is actually nothing but this hello command to the server and identified itself. Then server will acknowledge it from its own DNS name. So there is a domain name server. I hope now you can remember the domain name. What is the meaning of the domain name? So each and every server, Yahoo, Google, or any other website you are using, each of the website, for example, you are studying something from the towards data science, analytic vidya. There are lots of, there is a Greek for Greeks, tutorials point, there is Java point. There are lots of websites that are very famous for the computer science students. But actually, this is actually IP address. So you have to want one IP address for your website. So for example, so IP address is like 201.10.10.10. So now it is not possible. I can remember the Geeks for Greeks, tutorial point, Java point, analytics with the towards data science, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So this is the name, but actually these are IP address. So you have to give some name so that you can remember. It's not possible if I can remember your face by your name. It is not possible to remember your face with the help of your roll number. So this is a mapping is done where IP address and corresponding names are mapped. So that thing is done with the help of DNS. That is the domain name server. So domain name server. So with the help of the domain name server, then the server do the acknowledgement. I hope you can also remember the DNS. When the DNS spoofing is done, that is called farming. This is one kind of active attack. So if the mapping table is attacked or the attacker will get the mapping table, they can change the IP address corresponding to the name. So if you're writing www.google.com, so instead of 10.10.10.10, that is the actual IP address of the Google, it will go to some other IP address which looks like, for example, Google. So whatever information you will give, the attacker will get the information. So this is called DNS spoofing or farming. So DNS is one of the major database, important database that you need to put in some secure. Yes.
ম্যাম আপনি ওয়েব ডেভেলপমেন্টে যে মানে স্কুপিং করেছিলেন ওটাই তো?
Yes, yes. So that is called the DNS spoofing, or DNS spoofing is sometimes called farming as well. So this is one important topic where you need to remember that what are the different types of attacks are there, and because in the exam also there are as you know from the module 1, there are different types of attacks are already there. So please go through this, because in the exam also the questions will always come that what is IP spoofing, farming, what are the different types of IP spoofing. I hope you can remember there are ARP spoofing, IP spoofing, and what are different types of spoofings are. Actually, there are 3 types of spoofing are. ARP spoofing. ARP means address resolution protocol. So when the hardware address and the IP address mapping table is attacked by the attacker, they are called the ARP spoofing. IP spoofing is the destination address is changed by the attacker, that is called the IP spoofing. DNS spoofing that I had already discussed. So there are different types of spoofing is there. In case of spoofing means changing whenever you are integrity loss kind of thing. So this is done. After that, the client now send one or more email messages to the server. The email then transfer begins with the mail command that identifies the sender. So this is actually happening internally whenever you are sending the mail. So whenever you are trying to start a mail, that is you have opened. Just I have started a email. I click on the lomamuda.de@haterid.edu. So then this that means server is ready. Now server is created some space so that I can send a mail. So this is something that server will send an acknowledgement, and then it will send OK command. The return code is 250. So this is kind of acknowledgement is going on between that is the recipient allocates buffer to store the incoming message and sends back an OK response to the client. Okay, so server will create allocate one memory or buffer, just like before doing some sorting, you are writing int array 30, so that you can apply the sorting algorithm with the help of that array. So same thing, whenever you are trying to start an email, then the particular message email buffer, they will allocate one buffer, that is the memory will be allocated for the mail, and then it will send an OK message. And this OK message is actually written by 250. This 250 is server will send the 250 to your browser. This is actually handled by the browser. You cannot get the messages directly. Then the reason, I hope you have created SMTP server when you have system administrator lab, no? System administration lab SMTP protocol, or during the networking also you have created SMTP protocol. Some commands maybe you have gone through. Maybe you didn't do due to this online, it may happen, but this is easy to prepare one SMTP client, SMTP server, and then sending those messages is easy. You can, if you have Linux environment, you can do that thing also at your home. There are codes are readily available. Codes are big because nowadays, now not big, because when we did there, we have to write long C programs, so like 3-4 pages C programs we need to write. But nowadays we have started the networking lab with the help of Java programming language. So now it's become easy. We need to write, don't need to write 3 pages, only 1 page will be enough. There are lots of predefined classes are there in case of advanced Java, like socket, etc. So now clients will send the list of intended recipient to the email back one or more RCPT comments. So then suppose the recipient, if they didn't have that recipient is not there in the list, or that does not exist, so it will send 550. You maybe you will get this type of message that mail and daemon fail. So that means that the particular recipient's name that you have given is not there. Otherwise, it will send 250. After all RCPT comments, the client sends a data comment incoming the server that the client is ready to start transmission of the email message. The server responds back with a 354 start input email message. Then the server responds with 354, indicating it is ready to accept the email message. Initially, it was ready for accepting the receiver's name. So first this header is transmitted, and then body is transmitted. So there are 2 halves are there. So actually there are 2-way communications are there. First this header is sent. So header is actually you are sending the message at a time, but it will travel block by block. So initially the header is sent. So if that header, the particular recipient's name, that is the mahesh@yahoo.com, if that is present in the directory of the server, then it is sent okay. Otherwise, it will send 550 error. So it actually contains the information that no such recipient is there. After that, the body part goes at the receiver side. So that means this server. Actually, we are dealing with this site. So then the data part goes. So data part actually contains the actual email. So if it is reaches properly, then the server send again 250 okay. So that is we have successfully received your data message. So when it will receive properly, then the server send one quit message to the server, and the server send back that 221 that that is the total transmission is done. So that means this is closing of the connection. So the connection that is was there between the client and server is now broken. So as you can see that this is kind of connections we have already done in case of TCP/IP 3-way handshaking protocol. Okay, so TCP also prepared this type of connection. I hope you know that what is the difference between UDP and TCP during your networking class. So this is the flowchart kind of thing. So first, see if there is a simple mail transfer is ready. So first you will send one hello message to this, and then it will send one 250, that is okay. So then it will send the mail from mail to. So mail from, this is okay, that this is present. This is also present, and then you will send the data. Suppose you are sending 2 mails from your mail, you are sending 2 mails at the same time to Anna and to Juhi. So this is receivers. If the recipient's name is there, they will send okay. After that, you are sending the mail, so there is the actual content of the message is there. After that, it will send, after receiving, it will send okay, and then you quit, and then the server will send 221 to the browser. So this is the server closing transmission channel. So this is the total SMTP protocol. Now, when you are dealing with the SMTP protocol, there are 3 things are there, that PEM, three protocols are there. That is the PAM, privacy enhanced mail, pretty good privacy, and secure mind. So there are three things are there. PAM, privacy enhanced mail. This is PAM, and second is there is another protocol that you know already, that is PGP protocol, pretty good privacy, and last one is S-MIME. So PAM and PGP is for text message security can be handled. So this is like simple message we are transferring with the help of SMTP protocol. But in real life, there are some security measures you need to take whenever you are transferring message. So this PAM, PGP, these two protocols are added with the SMTP protocol so that you can securely transmit the data properly. And this secure MIME, that is the S-MIME, this protocol is handle the multimedia applications. That means this PAM and PGP is whenever you are sending only text messages, then PAM and PGP is used, and S-MIME is used when you are sending any MIME data. MIME data means that is MIME data means whenever you are sending any audio message, video message, images you are sending. So those things can be that those times the securities can be provided by a special protocol that is called the S-MIME. So let's discuss privacy enhanced mail or PAM. So this is the email security protocol that actually gives you three types of securities there. In securities like encryption, non-repudiation, and message integrity. So these are the PAM operations. So PAM actually provides encryption, so the message will be encrypted. Non-repudiation, obviously non-repudiation. I hope you can remember the non-repudiation. Suppose I have sent one mail, and whenever you are asking that you have sent a mail and I am denying. So the denying fact you can handle with the help of these PAM protocol, because there is here you can get the information and you can say that no, you had sent the message. And then message integrity. Integrity means that is the message that you are sending. The receiver is also receiving the same message or not. That will be checked over here. So that is checked by the message integrity.
Ma'am?
Yes.
That is non-repudiation. That is non-repudiation, right?
Now, non-repudiation means suppose I have sent you a message, and whenever you are asking that why did you send me the message, and I am telling you that no, I didn't send. So that is called non-repudiation. Whenever suppose you leave
Yes,
your
I cannot deny.
Yes, denying. Okay, so that is called non-repudiation. So non-repudiation can be done over here because all the messages are stored in a server. Okay, so
Yes.
so if there is some criminal problems or there, if you ask to the cyber security department, they will get actually we don't have the permission to the server, but cyber security or police has the authority. So at that time they will fetch the mails from the particular server and check that what type of messages are transferred from your mail. But suppose you have sent a mail and then you have deleted it from the bin, from the trash, or from everywhere. And if somebody is checking from your device or from your mailbox, it will say that the mail is not sent from your device or from your laptop. But in the cyber security department, they have the information, both IP address. Also, IP address is also there, by which they can also fetch that from which laptop or which mobile the message is sent. Okay, so that is the part of the non-repudiation. And integrity is that is a message is tampered or not during the transmission, that is checked by the message integrity. So PAM, that is the privacy enhanced mail, that actually works with the SMTP protocol. SMTP is simple mail transfer protocol. Okay, so it does not handle any kind of security related issues. So security related issue, that is how securely you can transfer mails so that nobody can see your mail except the intended recipient. So that thing will be handled by two protocols: privacy enhanced mail and pretty good privacy, that is PGP. This is what normal text messages. And
Okay,
for
ma'am.
audio, video, and image type of data, another protocol is required, that is called S-MIME.
Okay.
Okay. So how PAM actually gives these three securities: encryption, non-repudiation, and message integrity. So these three things will be provided by these four operations: canonical conversion, digital signature, encryption, base 64 encoding. So canonical conversion, digital signature, encryption, base 64 encoding, these are the 4 steps that is common for PGP, for PAME, for S-MIME. Everywhere these 4 steps will be required. So if you go through the PAME protocol, then you can also check all these values from the all these operations. Just you have to read it once, and then you can apply in everywhere. Every security, email security, actually using this thing. PM today, PM we cannot use because these are obsolete now. Nowadays, only PGP is used for text, only text data, and S-MIME is mainly used because we always need to send some attachments that also contain some images, also contains some audio, video, etc. over there. So at that time, S-MIME needs to use. So let's discuss first that what is actually canonical conversion. Okay. So canonical conversion is something like when actually both side, both sender and receiver must have similar kind of operating system. Okay, so this is actually, if it is not there, then during the transmission it will be modified into something. So that is called the canonical conversion. So normally what will happen, that when you are trying to send an email, both sides actually internally do the handshaking, that both sides they have same kind of operating system architecture or not. Because the internet, there are lots of computers are there. Suppose I am using Android mobile phone, I am sending one mail to you. So from Android mobile phone I am sending. So my here architecture is different, operating system is different. Now you are viewing that mail from your device where there is Windows operating system, or maybe Unix operating system, or Linux operating system, or it may MS-DOS operating system is there. So how there is a architecture you have, that is the same mail you can view in the same way. So that is basically PAME transferred all email messages into one app. Both PGP, PAME and S-MIME, every email security is basically using these features, that all the mails that you are transferring will have abstract representation. That's why in any operating system from any, when you are getting the mail, you can view it properly. So that's part of the canonical conversion. Next is digital signature. Digital signature means that the message is coming from your account or not, how that can be sure. Okay, I am sending one mail like so you will getting the mail that is, yes, the mail is from lobamudra.day@heritageit.edu. So you are sure that the message is coming for your cryptography class, right? So this is done by the digital signature. So digital signature actually handles, so whenever I am sending actually the mail is encrypted by my private key. Everybody that we are using internet, whenever we started with the browser, in your browser that will have 2 keys, private key and public key. I have private key, public key. So whenever we are to communicate with each other, obviously this public key is shared through our digital certificates. Now, so this this digital signature is handled. So this message will be encrypted by my private key, so that you can decrypt it with my key that is already shared. After that, next, so apart from that, what will happen, that whatever the message we are transferring, the to, from, subject, everything, one message digest algorithm is used, either MD5 or SHA-1. With the help of the algorithm, the message digest is generated. Based on this, if you are using message 5, the message digest size is 128 bit, right? Because we have 5 32-bit message registers are there, A, B, C, D, E. If you go through MD5 again, and if you are going through SHA-1, there will be 6 registers there. So the message digest size is 182 bits. So based on that, message digest is generated. After that, the sender's private digest will be encrypted by my private key. That is send private key, and then the digital signature is generated. Okay, and that will be sent to the receiver. Now let's discuss about the next step, that is encryption. So that is part of the digital signature. But after that, we need to do the encryption. What is encryption? That the data that we are transferring must be not in a plain text format. That may be in a text format. So you can use DES, DES3, you can use IDEA, Artsify, Blowfish. So that is designed by the browser. So by that, using that page and this digital signature, both will be encrypted with a symmetric key, and the encrypted result will be sent to the receiver. So this encryption means both digital signature that we have created along with the data that we are sending, that is the actual data, will be encrypted. And with the help of it can be used any symmetric cryptography algorithm. Both key will be shared beforehand, and this encrypted result will be generated that will be sent to the receiver. Now, last is base 64 encoding. So, base 64, this is the last step of the PAIN. So, base 64 encoding actually transform the arbitrary binary input into stable characters. So, this is very much straightforward. So, it is adding more confusion. So this adding more confusion over so that you are more confusion diffusion, so that before during transmission this data will be into 24-bit blocks. Then each 24-bit blocks will be made into 6-bit blocks. Then 6-bit blocks will be mapped to 8-bit blocks, and that will be sent. So the receiver will do the opposite operations. So that is, it is making more complex. So if the attacker can get the message, they will get some time for the conversion. And at that time, you can get the message and also do the particular operation. So this is called the base 64 encoding. Suppose this is your input. This is one example is given. Suppose this is your 24 input. You can divide it into 4 6-bit blocks. So that is 4 6-bit blocks are there. So if you then convert these numbers, 6-bit binary number into corresponding decimal number, so that will be this. Then convert into corresponding ASCII value. So ASCII value 8 means I. Suppose 53 means 1, 50 means Y, 17 means R. So this is the 64-bit table. After that, you will generate 8-bit. Every digit will be converted to corresponding ASCII equivalent binary that will have 8 bits per block. 8 bits per block. So this is how this base 64 encoding is done. So this is base 64 encoding table is there. So there is a 6-bit value, there is 0 will be represented by A, and when it will be 1 will be B, 2 will be 3. In this way, that is the table is performed. So this is how the 6-bit, and every 6-bit will be corresponding 8-bit will be generated at the last step. So this is the PAIN. This is the 4 steps that actually PAIN contains. So this PAIN will be very much famous when it was first created in the when we have actually generated the emails, and the security is there. It is required. But nowadays there is a lots of attacks as they are and PAIN cannot protect them. That's why nowadays PAIN is not used. PAIN become obsolete. So PGP is used nowadays, that we will discuss in our next class. That is PGP. That is a pretty good privacy protocol. This protocol we are going to discuss in our next class, that is tomorrow from 9 o'clock. So that's it for today. Please give your attendance. If you have any questions.